get this going here. Let's see if I'm live. As always, boom, 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 boom. It is live. We are live, folks. Let's see if anybody jumps into the chat as always. Adjust the camera there. So it gets the chain in, you know? Let's see. Let me pop out the chat here real quick. Bam. What's up, D-Rest? How you doing, bud? Good to see you, man. How are things? You working on some music or just chilling out today? Did you make any bets? Do you bet, D-Rest? Do you gamble at all? I mean, wager. Sports wager. We all gamble, right? Ooh. Working from home. All right, cool. Yeah, I was supposed to do some work for my mom, like install some blinds today for her. Oh, you do the horses. I used to bet the horses. I actually like going to the horse races. It's a little bit more of nostalgia for me. My father used to take me there as well as my uncles. We would spend a lot of time at the local places here. We had multiple horse racing venues that are now non-existent. We had Hawthorne, we had Arlington Heights. There was also one in Maywood. I believe the Maywood facility is still there, and they have a sports book at that one, but I don't think there is, the facility is there, but I don't think they actually have racing anymore. It's just a sports book. I don't know what I would consider myself. I don't know if I'm a capper, but I definitely started capping on myself, like what I'm willing to pay for a fighter, for example. Let's just take Aspinall this week. Aspinall was at plus 120 or 130 at the opening, and I didn't jump on him till he was about even money, and I had capped him being a favorite. I knew that he would be a favorite, not necessarily from the skill wise, but I knew from part skill, part being at home in England, and part where the line was going to be moving. So I thought like there was that he should be like in the area that he is now, plus 120, plus 130. I think that's going to skyrocket a little bit further tomorrow. I think he might end up in that plus 150 range. And I tend to do that with fighters. I look at I don't watch as many of the other cappers until late in the week, till like Thursday or Friday. And then I'll like, hey, this person I would put at like plus 160 or minus 120. And that's how I actually determine what my bets will be now. Is like I cap for myself and then go on and yeah, I mean, I do the tape study, and then I did a lot of, I guess, intuition with the parlays, and I think that's a good strategy. I've been making my parlays at the beginning of the week now, and I beat a ton of line movement because I got Ilya Taporia as well as Paddy Pimblett at minus 360, and they're in the minus 600 range now. So all those bets, and I put them in a Yankee parlay, and I put them in parlays with those guys, with Molly McCann as well as with Tom Aspinall into a Yankee parlay. So all those are great value because I have them at minus 360, two of the players, right? And then two others at even money, which is fantastic because Molly McCann and Tom Aspinall are now minus 130, and I got them at even money. So that was a good bet, and it was worked out for me last week as well. Getting the bets in early really helped out big time. So I did, and in pulling the trigger, yeah, I had to like be like, okay, I want to take this amount of my bankroll and invest it right away. Yeah, I used to always wait till I used to like seeing the weigh-ins. I used to like waiting till today. I used to go to the casino today to place my bet, and I saw a lot at I used the weigh-ins a lot. I used almost like horse racing, right? I used to, as D-Rest, as I always like going to the stable when they're sort of prepping the horses, and you get a chance to see like the horses, and everybody is sort of uncomfortable. The discussion of it, but where you get to see like, hey, does he have some big balls? And look at the legs on that horse, and look at the shoes and the hooves, and look at their coats and their sheen. It's sort of, I don't really like discussing it because it's sort of, I don't know. I don't want to, like, it has some racist sort of intonations or whatever when you're going to those stables. But I always used to bet that, and that was part of my favorite part of going to the horse races, was that part that you could get right next to the jockeys, you get really close to the horses, and everyone was just making their assessment of what the horses look like and placing bets based on that. Other thing about horse racing that I really, really dig, and I think one of the online betting things does it, is where you could see what people are betting on in volume. Like, I'd like to know how many people are betting on Aspinall by finish, for example, through my bookie, the book that I use, which is a casino. If they would show it on the board, like, hey, I love it at horse racing. You could see how many people have bet the trifecta, how many people are on this horse, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, almost like Tapology has those percentages, and people make decisions based on the Tapology percentage, which I don't advise you doing. Because you're really just looking at opinions, whereas opposed to at the horse races, you see actual bets. You're like, wow, frack, man, look, there's 300 bets on this horse. Why is that? And then you do some research and realize, okay, they're a favorite for a reason, or they're a dog for a reason. And that's why there's many bets already in there. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that could be true to an extent, but it's just a lot of it is via tape study. Like, I was trying to read something with Hooker today and Arnold Allen. Hooker looked okay. I mean, he looked sucked out, but he had a decent energy. I mean, he didn't have a ton of energy, not quite like Arnold. I mean, that weight cut is going to take a lot of energy out of him. And there's something to be said. I've usually now bet against guys that want to, although this is his second fight, but I bet a lot against guys that drop down weight and have to make a serious weight cut to try to get some kind of size advantage. It doesn't always translate. Like, their power doesn't always translate. The speed differential doesn't always translate. It works for some and it doesn't work for others. And it's hard to tell. But Hooker definitely is one of those type of guys that it may work for. Let's see. I mean, I threw an impulse bets over, again, looking at numbers. I just threw it at Arnold over that week. I was like, man, I'm getting Arnold at plus money. I got him at plus 130. He is now minus 130. So I got a complete, percentage out. I wish I could, because I actually purchased physical tickets, I can't buy out of my bets, or else I would just buy out of that bet. And I would actually profit now buying out of some of my bets that I placed on Monday. Yeah, the body language, and looking at Hooker's body, man, he still looks very sucked out. He does not look himself. I mean, when he fought Poirier and when he fought some of these other guys, he was really, really just he was ripped, but he had a lot more muscle, and he's lost a lot of muscle mass. I don't know how that's going to affect his speed and his power, because, I mean, he almost knocked out Dustin Poirier. I mean, he does have power, and people were dismissing it, but it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people, people are putting a lot of opinions into the weight cut, and I had this in the chat. Someone else mentioned it, like, you guys don't understand that fighters cut a ton of weight, et cetera, and it's normal, blah blah blah. And I get that, but how people respond to weight cut. I mean, I used to wrestle, and we didn't weight cut at all when we were younger, but I've seen it now in young kids as well as in adults. In the wrestling game, I watch YouTube videos, of course. And it does affect these kids emotionally, physically. It really does help. Yeah, one face off that I think I was really concerned about, and I'm not going to bet it, is the face-off between Craig and the Ukrainian guy. I just can't bet against Ukraine right now, man. I know it's superstitious, and I should just be all business and bet Craig via the submission, but I just can't get myself to bet against the Ukraine. I think it's just bad luck. It's a bad look. Although, man, Craig is just like somebody I would really like to bet on. But yeah, no, I'm just saying I'm not gonna bet it, man. I'm not gonna. Let me see what the bookies have here on that submission. But I just can't bring myself to bet against the Ukraine, man. It's just like I won off the Ukrainian gal last time. I I was like, man, I'm not betting against that woman. I mean, even with Craig, he's gonna have to kill that man. That man's not gonna tap. He's not gonna tap. No Ukrainian that is fighting out there right now is going to tap. They're gonna die in the octagon before they would tap. And I think that's gonna be the case this weekend with that gentleman. But so I stayed away from that particular bout because of that. Oh yeah, man. They have to put it on, and that was the but Paul Craig was not Nikita Krylov. Paul Craig was not backing down, man. He did not care. Like he was all up in his face. In fact, money came in on Craig. People are realizing that Craig is for real. All his wins are by finish. So Craig by finish is plus 300, and Craig by submission is plus 450. So I mean, Krylov can wrestle. He can strike. He seemed calm in there. He looked good. So I can't bet against Krylov, and I can't bet with him because his price is a little too high at minus 200, and I'm not putting him in a parlay. But it's tough to bet against. What's up, Dev, the dude? It's tough to bet against any of the Brits and the Ukrainians. Like I'm not going to bet against the Ukrainians, and I'm not going to bet. Yeah, I get you, Dev, but are you going to bet it? I just feel it's not guilty, but I just think it's a bad look, and it's bad luck. I don't want to go against the Ukraine. So I'm just going to let that bout be, even though I really want to take Craig by submission. I'm going to just let that bout be, man. I don't want that money. Yeah. All Paul Craig does need is a takedown. But that was the face-off that I most wanted to see than other ones, because I wanted to see how Nikita Krylov responded. He didn't look aggressive. I'm just going to avoid it. I'm confident that Craig could possibly pull that submission as well. He is damn good off his back, and he has other submissions as well. Like that's the other thing about Paul Craig that people don't realize, that he's got other tools. Yes, he does do that armbar, but he has more than just an armbar at his disposal. Yeah, he's very tempting bet. I can make money elsewhere. He's one of the better dogs to bet. In fact, he was a bigger dog earlier in the week. Yes, Krylov's all his losses have been by submission, right? And Craig's like a much better submission grappler than all those guys that have already beat Nikita Krylov. I mean, Paul Craig is a submission specialist. That's his win condition. So betting him on the money line, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just you got to go him by submission. Although he did look in great shape, But so Dev bet it. Dev's okay. Dev's taking that blood money there. That's all right. I'm gonna stay away from it. I can't bet against Ukraine. We're here in Chicago, man. We got a lot of Ukrainian people here, man. They're taking it hard, man. And a lot of the other Europeans, the Polish people here feel the pain. The Romanians and a lot of the other Slavic people really, really feel. You could tell when I'm interacting with them, it hurts them. They're not happy with Russia right now. Jack Shore, I was actually on Timur Valiev, and then as I was mentioning to D-Rest, I put I did most of my parlays at the beginning of the week because I anticipated huge line movements for all most of these bouts, especially Ilya Tapuria, uh, Paddy the Baddy, and even Tom Aspinall, and that did occur, right? So I thought Shore, same with Shore as well as Arnold Allen. I was not on Shore. I was actually on Timur. Yeah, betting on with emotions rarely works out. I agree, but I mean, even skill wise, as Dev the Dude was mentioning, Nikita Krylov has lost all his losses have been by submission. So I think that's his. I mean, going against Paul Craig, I think Paul Craig is going to get it. He's got the momentum. He's got the skills. He's in the home. Yeah, hope everybody's rooting against the Russians, except there's a bout with two Russians where I think I'm going to take Pavlik by finish. But they trained together. The first bout I believe on the card, Sergey Pavlovich versus Shamil Abdurakhmanov. I'm looking at Pavlovich possibly not as he's still possibly a parlay piece, but man, look at his finish is minus 250. Ridiculous, man. Even if you get him by TKO, it's minus 210. So you might as well just parlay him out because even the props there just friggin' suck. Really, I don't know, Dev, if you've caught on, man, but the books are really on to prop bettors and the win conditions, right? They know, and then they're off on some. Like they're still giving you Paul Craig via submission, which I think is his win condition. They're still giving you Paul Craig by submission at plus 450. So I mean that's just great odds. Whereas I think the match between the yes, I got Sato via TKO. I already invested in that. In Sato round 1 at plus 1300. Okay, so going back, D-Rex, we were talking about the weigh-ins. I didn't like the way I saw Gunnar Nelson move on the stage. He looked a little slow. He had a hard time taking his shirt off. And I know this is all friggin' speculation, and it's just last second looking at things, D-Rex, as we mentioned, horse race and thing. But I did glean something from that weigh-in, from that particular moment where Gunnar's had problems with his ribs and his shoulders, and he just didn't take his shirt off like really like quick. He was like took his time. It just looked awkward. And Sato's a round 1 guy, so he may be one of the only dog plays that I make. And he was actually at plus 400 yesterday. Yeah, Gunnar, it has a chin, but it's been hit before, and Sato can hit hard. And I think the line is way too wide on Gunnar Nelson. And check out here's his submission line. We're going back to methods. His submission, Gunnar Nelson by submission, is minus 118. And you could get Sato by TKO at plus 650. In fact, he was plus 700 yesterday, right? So just take the finish at plus 700. See, this is where they make a mistake in the line, right? They have him by TKO just being plus 650, but then they give you him by finish at plus 700. So that's an error on their part. But I like the Sato by that finish at plus 700 and that round 1 at plus 1300. And it's just a sprinkle, just lunch money, 20 and 20 or 10 and 10 or 15 and 15. You don't have to go really crazy on that. What's up, Fernbird? Okay, what are we going to do, Fernbird? I got to get me one of those voice things, like the little... I'm going to get me like a horn that actually changes my voice like that. Gunnar by sub is the pick. Yeah. I don't know if we always go directly but we do. That's why we're able to prop bet, right? But there's no value, Fern, on Gunnar Nelson. There's nothing to be gotten there. You're better off finding better spots, even with your prop betting. Right? Sometimes we can't always just prop bet on that sure thing. There still has to be value there too. Because it depends what your bankroll is. If you're, throwing 20 on it, there's not a lot of value there. At minus 121, you're not going to make very much dough. I don't like putting, I do put more, I have some lock prop bets Oh, thank you. Oh man, I have to watch that, man. With the bird voice, I have to really check that out, man. I'll try to record it because now we could save or clip those little things. I'd love to hear that, man. Be so funny. But you know, um, you have to look at like again going back to what we're doing with our prop bets, right? Like if we go Gunnar Nelson by submission, my max bet on any prop bet, this is for me. My max bet on any prop, even if I'm sure of it, is $50. I know other people do higher and they have that expendable income. I don't. Like I've put on like who did I get by finish last week? A few people by finish, and then and I've got people by decision. I did very good with Alex Pereira, throwing I threw 50 on the over 1.5. That was a max bet for me, and then I did 15 on yes to go the distance, and then I did another 20 on Pieta by decision, and all those cash, and then like it's a big was the Pieta by decision was plus 900. So I can't like throw $50 at that. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. It's still a long shot. I was betting against the sort of grain, but against the stream. So I mean, Gunner, even at my max bet, $50. That's not horrible. 50 to win 42. That's not a bad bet there, Vern. So if you're on Gunner by submission, that's not bad at all, right? But I don't like again, everybody has what they bet on prop bets. And even though I've hit a lot of prop bets and I do very well on them, and I do a lot of the that max bet, but I tend to, that's my max. I tend to hover around that $20, $30 area for my prop betting for the most part. And then if I'm really sure with something or very confident, or I want to take that, like that real big stab and try to get that payoff like Paul Craig via submission at that plus 450 area, even though it's a long shot, I would probably do like the close to max bet. I would do like a $40 bet on that to win 180. That's good money right there, man. You know what I mean? When you see a line like that and you see somebody that could actually actualize it, even though it's a long shot, I mean, I might do it. I still might do it. We'll see. I say that now. We'll see how long my pride or my honor and affiliation and commitment towards the Ukraine lasts depending on how my evening goes. Like I might not have any money and need like Craig might be my way out, or way back. Be like, hey, Craig, and then I would bet it, depending on how my evening goes. But for now, I'm off of it. But some of these, again, going back to Shore. Jack Shore, I bet Jack Shore, and I had Jack Shore at plus 138. And I put him in a parlay with Molly McCann at even money. And I wasn't aware of it, that I did it. I threw in some money into the machine, started placing these bets on an impulse, just impulse. And because I'm actually on the Timur Valiev side. I think Timur has a better, well-rounded skill set, a great takedown defense, is quicker, has very good movement. So I looked for Timur to have that, but I can't buy out at this point because Molly McCann and Jack Shore are paying me 3-1 money, right, on a $40 parlay. So there's no way. I mean, to get to bet Timur Valiev right now to get to the same result that I would make on there, I would have to bet like $70 on Timur Valiev at that line to just buy out of my other bet, right? And then he would have to win, right? Or I could break even, but so it, that was I'd have to bet $70 at on Timur Valiev at the current line to buy out of my parlay bet with Jack Shore and Molly McCann. And so there's no point in me doing that. I'd rather just live with the parlay bet that I got. And if I lose it, I lose it. And, that's it. Right. And I still don't have to put in that other $70. And I have that $70 to bet maybe Eli Reed, even though I don't want to bet against Corey McKenna because she's another, where is she from? Another Welsh, right? We're considering the English Britannia states now, a different countries. It's tough to bet against the hometown in this particular event, especially in a women's match. And Eli Reed, believe it or not, I backed her against the African, Sarge last time, and she got mopped quickly. I was like, I didn't throw away the ticket because I keep all my tickets. Have you guys seen my tickets? I put it in one of the other videos. I got a box full of tickets. I got tickets everywhere, guys. I got tickets here. Look at tickets. To win Lumangula by finish. That didn't happen. Here's a parlay. Alex Piera and Javid Bashrat. That cashed. So these are from last week. Here are some of the tickets from last week. I got them all over the place. Anybody still here? I always feel like I'm talking to myself sometimes. And it's a little, I don't know if it's even harder when I'm not drinking, But this is cool because I'm completely sober. You're getting the actual raw Roberto. Ah, man, that's not a lot of tickets. Fern, let me show you. Fern. I'm going to show you the box. Let me get the box going here. Now I got to... Fern. Now this is a lot of tickets, brother. Look at all these tickets, man. Look at this. These are all tickets, bro. I should have a box of money. I lived off this stuff for a while, look at this one. Let's see who this one is. Nikolai Negomarenu, on the money line. That paid. Oh no, did Nikolai, did he win that one? I don't remember. I think he cashed that one. So, we could go back down in here. Oh shit. Wait, they're busting out of the box here. I got to get another box. Let's see what these guys are. Let's see another one over here. Dobson, AJ Dobson to win by finish. Man, I don't remember if that one was a cash. Look, I have Hooker, Dan Hooker to win by finish against Nasrat Hasprat, which I lost. Right, he didn't do that. You know what I mean? So I'm talking prop bets. There's another prop bet. Jessica Andrade, she finished that one against Cynthia Calvillo. That was a good bet right there. Got that. That was a casher. We'll go with some other ones here. Oh, look at this parlay. I don't do these parlays anymore like this. This was a 5-pick. I had Karen Paprocki. I don't remember her. I'm sorry. I had Maria Silva, Jake Hadley, Reyes Cortez, Slava Borishev, and Martin Boudet. I don't remember if I cashed this one or not, but it was at plus 1075. Right? So, let's see what this one was. Well, you get the idea. You get the picture here that when I'm talking about betting and gambling, a lot of these guys talk about the betting and gambling, but you never see any tickets or the money. And the money's fake. I could go and get a bunch of a rack or 2 racks of cash and pretend. I could show you anything online. I could take photos of other people's tickets and show you. Or I could doctor all of that shit. You could go and fact check me. I bet on everything that I mention in my content. I bet, I got tickets and tickets and tickets. So when I'm saying something or all the bouts that I cover, I bet, right? So if I made content like this week on like 4 bouts, I'm investing in it and more. Right, because I didn't talk about my Jack Shore bet. I didn't talk about I didn't give the complete rundown of my Yankee play. And somebody was incorrect. Like we were talking about a Yankee play, somebody tried to say that I was 8 for 4 last week, that I had eight losses, and I'm like, no, wait. When I make a Yankee play, that's 11 parlays, and I cashed that Yankee play. That's 11 bets in itself that I won, right? So even according to that person, they didn't understand that really, I bumped up my picks and I went like 19 bets and 4 non-bets, right? They didn't get that. And I bet some other things that people don't see. And then I used to try to update and when I'm at the casino, but it's really hard because I actually want to focus on the fight. And it's nice if people do mention something and I could get back to them and be like, because I've made moves on that. Like, gee, the mattress guys give me information, or someone's, even Dev the Dude is like T-Rex, like, and mentioned it again in the content during the event, and I was like, man, I'm going to go harder, I mean, I do that. I listen to people in my chat. I can be influenced by people without a doubt. I'm not very hard to not convince to make a bet. My girlfriend says that I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm at the casino, because I'll go, if I already have an inclination and somebody is pushing me off the cliff, I'll go with it. And Dev the Dude is somebody, I know Dev's gambling. I know the guy wants to win. Fernbird, I know you're probably gambling too. And I listen to that more than some of these guys that their interest is putting on entertainment and a show, and I'm interested in that too. But at the end of the day, I'm interested in making money. I actually make more money even recently at my sports gambling, right? In my sports gambling than I do in my job, which is sad. Last week I made more money at the casino than I did working for a whole week. And I was like that for a while. Prior to COVID and during COVID, I was making more money than my actual job. And my percentage is still hovering in that 65, 67 range. But that for the amount of bets that I place, and I'm not just talking picks here, I'm talking bets, like actual bets. I'm pretty good. I'm up again finally, but I'm over the past 3 years, I'm at even money. So that box represents just even money. I wish I had but there's been money in there. It could have been box money, but I paid my rent with it, my phone, my food money. I lived off those tickets, literally lived off those tickets. So that's the big difference between myself and some of these other guys. I'm literally a degenerate gambler. I have to gamble to survive, right? I don't have to make YouTube to survive, and how well I do on YouTube doesn't matter because I'm getting nothing from YouTube at all. Nobody sends anything. I don't even ask people to send me money, and I don't really care that much. Would it be great? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't need the YouTube. The YouTube is the means to an end, and doing the YouTube has helped me, even though I waste too much time sometime on the content creation, and I could be watching more tape and learning more about the fighters, but it helps me really get versed in the fighters that I do study. So that in itself has made it worthwhile. But I don't think it's added to, it hasn't added to anything major anyways. But yeah, you have to be cautious of, anybody could say all these, oh, this is a great bet, parlay the, yes to go the difference distance at minus 286 with not to go the distance over here, and the Aspinall whatever bout. You know what I mean? It's easy for people to make these total bets and make these when there's no accountability, and when you're just talking at that point. I don't want to do that. I don't want to provide. I take it personally, and I empathize. And unfortunately, G the mattress guy stayed away from, which is fine. People need to take a break, right? We give information out there and we give these picks, and he's like myself. We have the honor about it. We're I feel like I'm not, if I were your financial advisor and if I gave you shitty advice, I didn't do my job. I didn't do a very good job of providing that financial advice. I mean, we lost money on it, right? Even though this is gambling and people be like, oh, don't worry about it. You shouldn't have to worry about it. It's I still empathize and I still internalize some of that. So when I give that information out there, I stick with it and I'm accountable for it. And I admit it, man. Oh, a bad pick. Fuck, sorry guys. Ooh, I could swear because now they've actually, I got a strike. Somebody snitched on my channel. It wasn't UFC card and gambler. It wasn't Michael Leher. Very sorry, Michael, that I accused you of something like that. I knew you knew better. And it's just sad that somebody reported my channel for sexual content when there was actually no sex or nudity. I think it was probably something with language. But regardless, whatever, it happens. So I got a strike on my channel, which is sort of ridiculous because I have it marked as not a channel for children. So it is what it is. I just thought it was very awkward and odd that YouTube got back to me like in 30 seconds once I made an appeal. It was like, hey, I don't have any sex in my content. My content is not created for children. What's the deal? They're like, oh, your appeal's denied. We're going to put a child thing where no kids are on your channel. I'm like, okay, I already had that. So, it's a shame. I don't think I have to worry about that very much because there's nothing going to be, for sex. And that was a weird thing. It was like, I got flagged for sexual content, not even language. Like, I was like, and nudity. I'm like, I didn't show my, penis or anything. I didn't show my butt. There was nothing there. So that is what it is. But Dev the Dude is on I like that Dev is on Sato, and I like that he's on Craig. D-Rest or Bird, either you guys have a best bet that you guys are putting out? Are you guys still here? While you guys think about that, I'll actually go grab a beer. Day drinking. Oh, we are all in on. Oh, dude, Ferd, I'm so scared, bro. On Aspinall, I am so in on Aspinall. What do you guys know about the new Glarus, the spotted cow? You only get this stuff in Wisconsin. They don't sell it out of state. We have to drive to Wisconsin to get this stuff. The spotted cow. Patty and Sergey. Sergey, which Sergey, bro? Oh, I see that. Pavlovich. That yeah. Yeah, Dev, if but you had to like Tom round one. Oh, Aspinall round one. Woo. What's that Aspinall at round one? Let's take a look at that. Oh man, Aspinall round one. I don't bet a lot of the round props as longer, but man, yeah, plus 420, bro, you're better off just sticking to yeah, that's not horrible. I mean, plus 420, I don't think that's a lot of value for a round prop. You know what I mean? I don't like that number. I think it should be higher, right? I mean, but if you're just throwing 20 at it, that's not horrible, but I think it should be bigger. Some of the round props should be a little bit larger. Yeah, this is some good beer, man. I really do like it. And they make other good stuff. They make other good stuff as well. I can't smoke, and I haven't been smoking lately, and I'm still not smoking. I got a new job coming up, and I did already pass the medical. But just in case there's like going to be a subsequent medical for whatever reason, they do random drug test me. So you think the 420? Yes, 420 is the perfect number. You're right. So maybe there's some good luck with that. But and then yeah, I'm going to go back to Aspinall. So I have Aspinall not only in my Yankee play, right? But I have Aspinall. Basically Aspinall is my largest bet since Peter Yan. I have Aspinall max bet on the money line for me, which is a unit and a half. I am screwed with Aspinall basically. If he loses, I'm screwed because he's in my Yankee parlay with Patty Pimblett, Molly McCann, and Ilya Tapuria. But I also put him. I had him in another parlay with Nathaniel Wood, but I also have him in a parlay with Mohamed Makaev, right? That I put earlier in the week, and Mike Grundy. So I'm all in. Yeah, my Yankee hit last week. It was cool. It was cool that it hit. That was a big hit for me, right? Like I was betting. I had already won money. I was on house money, and then when that money came in, it was nice. That was all gravy. That was all profit. I was already betting on house money, but when I hit that And it's nice that it was the last fight at the end of the night. But a lot of times, Dev, I'm gonna have basically most of my tickets invested or tied to Aspinall, which that's a big mistake. I've been burned before. Like I got burned with Peter Yan. I've been burned with who else? A few people. I've been burned a lot by doing that. Having somebody, anchoring my parlays and then them losing. Right? It's hurt. It's hurt. I've been hurt by it before, and so this time, Aspinall just was too attractive, right? And I got him at even money, so he's at minus 136 now, and he's going to be at that 150 minus 160 by fight time by tomorrow. So I got him at even money, so I stacked him with everybody, and I went max bet on him, right? So he's in my Yankee play with Molly McCann, Pimlet, as I mentioned. I have him on a parlay with Arnold Allen as well, and McCaw. So I have him in a lot of parlays, right? And even money. So basically, he is my evening. Yeah, I did, and we're going back to like what D-Rest and I were talking about. I didn't like the way Durden looked at the weigh-ins. He looked a little smaller. He didn't look cut up. He looked a little soft, even though he has that, the wrestling acumen. He had the USA Wrestling tattoo. He just didn't look that strong to me. So, and Muhammad Makaev looks like he could, I didn't like his props either. Suck, bro. Like him by finish, minus 106, not horrible, right? Him by TKO, it's better to think of him by submission as plus 190. What do you think, Fernbird, is Makaev's, what is his win method, do you think? Salut, guys. I want to do the bear voice. I think he's going to get him by submission. Yeah, he's going to choke that motherfucker. Submission round one. Club and sub in the second. Wow. Yeah, but yeah, and you guys are on to something, because looking at the round props, Muhammad round one is plus 250. Muhammad round two is plus 450. You get Muhammad rounds 1 and 2 at plus 120. I think it's just better to stay with him at that minus 106, almost even money to inside the distance or the finish. I think it's just good to go there, and I might play that. And I'm not gonna do max bet there, but I might throw a 30 at that. Yeah, I guess it's even money. Yeah, I won't do a max bet there, but I'd regret not doing a max bet. But I think he finishes them too, because that's the other thing about like line analysis, guys, that I do as well. I used to mention it in my content a lot more. I used to show you a lot more lines, and a lot of people I didn't have any viewers. I felt like nobody was looking at that type of content nor cared, because I would give these bets like that, like Dev, you're mentioning. All that information, bro, is very useful, because you go look at that and you go look like, wow, Makaev round 1 and 2 supports that small number supports the notion that he is going to finish this guy. So we don't know when he's going to finish, but Vegas thinks for sure, along with the minus 106 number, that he is going to finish. So betting that finish, betting that 106, if I were more familiar with Makaev as, because he is a new fighter, I would think of that max bet right there, right? Like if he were somebody that, or some of these other jiu-jitsu artists or knockout artists that I know are going to knock somebody out, like Lewis, Derek Lewis, TKO, KO. I've been betting $50 on that max bet, him by finish, forever, right? Like when these guys, that's the way they win. Like Paul Craig, the guy wins by submission. That is what he does. So you like him straight up, huh? Yeah, but that number isn't horrible to still parlay. But some of I think that all the value of a lot of these favorites has been sucked out. right? Even Sergey Pavlovich, even though I think he might be still a good parlay piece. I mean, you have to understand that even Mike Grundy in American bout started close to even money, and then Grundy started, just exploded, right? Krylov has come down a lot. I still think he's in a lot of trouble. He's in a precarious position. Muhammad was started off at minus 330 earlier in the week, so he's boosted up. LZ Reed, Corey McKenney has been stable, but I'm not going to parlay Corey McKenna in a women's bout, this particular one. I think even though you could hit some like Jack Shore or Timur Valiev, you could hit either one of them on the money line, and they're in that range of the money line. I personally would think those are my like a parlay piece, right? At this point, there is Jack Shore, Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker. Those two fighters or set of four are the ones to parlay where you're gonna get your best value, right? And you know who's the anchor at this point in terms of a number? You still got either Molly McCann or Tom Aspinall. And it's an argument. My buddy Joey and I, we argue like who was a better anchor for those. And I thought Tom Aspinall was, even though Volkov was he has a tougher opponent than Volkov, because Molly McCann is a head case. She's not very smart, right? So, I did put her in my parlays, but yeah, I had Nathaniel Wood as a parlay piece. I had him with a big parlay with Ilya Topuria, and that was it sucks now because it becomes a straight bet. But I still got Topuria at minus 460 in that particular parlay. So, but it's just a waste of money, right? And it sucks that that's the disadvantage of betting in actual tickets and investing in a casino, in that if you do online betting, you could buy out. That option to buy out of your bets. Like right now, I'd be able to buy out of my Yankee parlay for a profit, as I mentioned earlier. I'd be able to buy out of most of I could not wager any money, go back to, go online and sell my bets back and profit this weekend already without an event happening because of the line movement. I mean, I love that. But I can't take advantage of it because I didn't bet online. But that I could be in that position makes me know that I made some good, competent, speculative bets earlier in the week. I feel very good about that. Yeah, I think Craig, man, Fern, are you betting it? In real news, is everybody betting Craig? Does anybody feel anything or just, I just feel like it's bad karma to bet against the Ukraine right now. Does anybody else feel me on that? Or we just got to throw our emotions and all that bullshit to the side and just chase the money, chase the bag, huh? Tell me to chase the bag. Tell me that my honor still stays intact. I could say a prayer for the Ukrainians before I go to, man, I'll go to by the church. I'll put a knee down in front of the church and say, hey, bless these people. May they all help and survive. But today I need Craig. Yeah, most casinos offer the ability for you to buy out in live as well. Get the bag. Okay, man. All right. But I'm going to go. I am, just so you guys know, I mean, even though I'm not a religious guy, uh, yeah, I'm gonna go to the church. I'm gonna leave a little prayer for the folks in Ukraine. Um, say my piece, and then I'm gonna go bet Roger, not Roger Craig. What am I saying, Roger Craig? Thinking football here. I'm gonna bet uh, Paul Craig. Yeah, I'm gonna bet that submission. Plus 420. I'll take it. I don't know if Craig should be a pick 'em because Nikita Krylov's like, man, the dude's serious on the feet, man. He's got some skills. He's not one dimensional. He's got great wrestling. He's got good kickboxing. And Paul Craig on the feet. I mean, the guy could bang. Don't get me wrong, but he just does. He's not super technical. He does get hit a lot, so I'm going to go with you guys on Paul Craig, but I am going to, pay my respects and give something, back, or at least in heart and spirit to the people in the Ukraine, because You know, I mean, I know there's that, you know, we don't really understand being in war. All these people that are war mongers and America this and all this other shit, we got it good here. We don't have any clue what it is to be affected by a war. Even during the Vietnam era, we had no clue. Like we were somewhere else bombing the hell out of, destroying, putting holes and killing kids. We didn't have shit over here, right? You know, even 9/11 is nothing compared to what's happening to the Ukrainian people. Think of like 9/11 happening 5 times a day. You know, that's what's happening in the Ukraine. You know, maybe more than 5 times a day. Missiles fucking coming all over the place, and you can't even see shit. Talk about death from above. You can't, you know, having your gun doesn't matter. Yeah. Yep. Come on, Craig. You know, also, yeah, I guess I'll throw something on the money line too, just in case. But I'm gonna throw probably like a certain portion on the money line, and then hit the submission prop as well. And I might do a max bet on that submission prop. I think that might be him, and Sato might be my dog plays, and that's it. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm not gonna chase like Grundy by submission. I know a lot of people or by finish at plus 320. That isn't a bad line, man. Grundy by TKO plus 850. Wow. And him by submission is plus 500. That's another, favorite line or some prop bets that are pretty decent. I'm not happy with the lines with Muhammad Mokaev, though. That's like not cool. So I'll just avoid that bet. I mean, or that prop bet there. And then, yeah, like look at the other methods. McCann by decision plus 110. Man, I really wish McCann by finish plus 550. If she had actually punching power, because she's got pillow fists. You know, she could maybe ground and pound the girl if she doesn't get submitted by Carolina off her back. We're fucking all over Craig. Uh, I need to do something with the bird voice. Or maybe one day when I get my computer or something, uh, I don't know. We'll do something with the bird voice. Hey, Fernbird, I think you guys are onto something that's unique. It's cool. I don't know if that's your girlfriend, your wife, or friend. You got a nice setup. It's quick. It's funny. It's entertaining. And we need more of that shit in this MMA thing. Everything, like, I sort of, the way I do things is the way it is, but your shit's unique. And I watched this Korean guy, this who does something a little different. He speaks in a little kid voice. And I think he is a little kid. And he shows like all these funny images of cartoons and, bloopers and, internet shit. He just does a whole mix up of funny stuff as he's mixing in his picks. And it's, even though I don't know the language, oh, Bird is a wifey. Yeah. It's just funny. Right. And even though I don't understand the language, I still watch all his videos and I get it. I get what the humor is. And sometimes I laugh at it. Like he'll show an image of somebody, like when he says sloppy kicks, he'll show somebody like trying to throw a kick and then, falling down, it's just, it still translates. And I think that's better content than what I do and what most of these people do. I'd rather watch stuff like that than, just some dude in his basement like me giving you his picks, you know what I mean? Or in his house or whatever, I mean, it's just more entertaining. And you're underrated. People are going to catch on to that, copy it, try to do shit differently. I think you should expand it maybe with some animation somehow, but you don't have to. I think it's just cool the way you do it. It's quick, fast, easy, and funny. And then you have to be funny. Like you're a funny person that has that talent to be funny. I wish I did. I'm not a comedian. I don't think of myself as that funny. I used to have more slapstick in me. And I love comedy too. Like I really do love comedy. Like my favorite like fighting comedy person is Chisel Adonis. I know you guys watch Chisel Adonis, man. That dude is hilarious. He recently got banned from YouPorn or from Pornhub. He was backing up all his stuff on Pornhub, and they decided to take his channel off of Pornhub. Because I think he shows a lot of like NFL, NBA sort of trademark content in his stuff, so they came down on him. But it's just funny that you're like banned on Pornhub. They could show people doing things to other people, all kinds of stuff, all the themes, all the, mom and son, all this other stuff. But the moment you show some NFL footage or some NBA footage or something, image, I can't do that. Even the UFC's like that. Sooner or later, the UFC's like, I've seen them come at like channels for showing, flagging channels for showing like parts of the fights. Soon they're going to be like, oh, you can't use our images, even though they're online. They're PNGs. Like the way I just show like a little graphic of the fighter, which we all do. Soon they're going to be like, they're using our images. And I think they technically can, right? It's their trademarked images. So, it's just a little petty. Even for the NFL and for NBA, like long term, it doesn't hurt their product. It just gets their product out to more eyes, and people see it in a different way. And in my opinion, it still falls under free use, right? We've changed the content, right? Or fair use, right? But someone could say, hey, that's my image. We took that photograph. We own the photograph of that fighter. So, it is what it is. So I'd actually like to do more video analysis or even photo analysis. Like I could already do that. And I see the guys that do that, like where they just show a photo of a slide and then you could see like how someone is holding their hands or where their hook or when the hand drops as they're hooking, right? Because a lot of dudes do that. You'll see, we're going to see a lot of that this weekend. Like watch when you're watching the fights. When I'm doing my analysis on stuff, I notice in the tapes, like Hooker, for example, he's got a little tendency he's got a little hand drop when he's doing something, and all these other guys might throw a kick. And as they're throwing their kick, they lower their guard for some reason. It's just these little impulsive things that if I were able to help a fighter with some tape study, I would be mentioning these things. I'd come in and be like, hey, I'm not an expert fighter. I'm just looking at this and you see this. And then I would be able to show it to them again and again and again. Say, hey, he did it in this bout. He does it on this bout. But why does he do it? And when does he do it? And that could help another fighter. If a smart fighter could be like, I'm going to be looking for him. I'm going to time to my overhand, or my left, when he kicks, when he drops his guard, when he throws the right, front kick. That there are people that do shit like that. I know that Cejudo does that shit. I know that a lot of coaches do look at these things when they're watching the tape and then they drill their fighters into be like, hey, we were doing this. We're doing a left hook after he kicks for a reason. You keep doing it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry right now. You keep doing that action, right? Or do the 1-2, or hitting combinations constantly. We're not doing one punches, and I know they teach that a lot, Or we're not going to measure. We're not going to do this distance measure because this guy already kicks really well to the body. So rather than we're gonna parry those things, but we're not going to measure, right? There are things that you could watch tape and you could see fighters' offensive and defensive tendencies, and that's why we watch the tape. Like I'm not an expert, but you could see it. We're watching the fight, and that's why sometimes like I can't participate in the chat or look at my YouTube channel during the fights because that's the first impression I get to see of like, oh, what are they doing in there? And then I'm also live betting. Like I'm like, man, his cardio looks bad, right? Yeah, for sure. And they do it. I know that the tape study is big amongst fighters. Some of them don't want to admit it, but they watch the tape. They do. They watch the fights. But if they're watching it in an educational context is what I would, or if they're just watching it to watch it, or if they don't have the proper person to interpret it or to translate it to them in a real life sense, right? Like, and I think they do. I know that there are a lot of other coaches and people that know this game far better than I do that probably do that, right? But I feel like if I got in a discussion with fighters, they probably want to kick my ass. All right. Hey, thank you thank you, Fern, man. Have fun at work. Hopefully you have a good day, make some good money. People treat you well, and you have a good week as well. Thank you so much for joining me here. Best of luck to you as well, bro. But yeah, like there are a lot of good people out there, and I know that people are doing tape study. It's important as gamblers or as wagerers for sure, because we just can't go with what we can't let the bookies determine what our actions are, right? We can't let them dictate what our plays are. We have to catch them on slipping. Like that Paul Craig at plus 420. That might be them slipping. That should be that should be a plus 200 prop, right? Or plus 250. They're sort of slipping there, right? So we got to catch them. We got to take advantage of when they don't know something. Like in my opinion, for example, Timur Valiev and Jack Shore. People don't realize that Timur Valiev has his own grappling abilities, right? The guy can wrestle. Him, submitting Shore is unlikely. Shore's super tough, but Valiev by TKO plus 600. He's plus 1,000 by submission. He could club and sub that kid. Like Valiev is from Dagestan. He does have he trains with Frankie Edgar and Zabit, right? He's got power in his hands. So we see that and we know that. And the bookies don't always catch that shit. They'll catch the obvious ones, like right here with Sergey Pavlovich, right? They'll catch the obvious shit, right? But they make a lot of assumptions. Even with Gunnar Nelson, they caught the obvious Gunnar Nelson by submission, right? At -1, by -121 or -118, but they didn't catch the Sato side. That Sato's win condition and how he wins is TKOs, right? That's the way, and he wins it usually in round 1 or 2. He's a round 1 guy, and we know this. The books miss that, so that's another area where we watch the tape study, and the tape study, not just the statistics, we've seen it, right? And we've seen things that lead us to make these inferences, and there are inferences that something or an outcome is going to happen, and we bet on it. And how well we do that is how successful we are. In addition to money management. Yeah, dude. The other master of sport is this Sergey Pavlovich. He's a master of sport as well. And when you see that master of sport, man, I'll tell you what. I think like next week, oh damn, he's already leaped up another 40 points in one fucking day. Borachev, Vyashev, Santa Claus, he was -150 yesterday. Now he's up to -190. Because that's a parlay piece right there. Borachev, I would have attacked him on the money line earlier, but now he's become a parlay piece. Here's a parlay piece too that people haven't jumped on. I'm surprised her number hasn't gone much higher. She's in a tougher fight against Jennifer Maia. That's why she's -335. That's the lowest she's been in a while. So I think she's another parlay piece. The line between Kai Kara-France and Askar Askarov, man, that is a wide line. There's value on Kai Kara-France. Even though, and I think Askar Askarov, is he another master of sport? I'm not positive, but the damn dude is damn good. Like, I thought he would be champion. He wins this. This is definitely, that bout is whoever wins that gets a title match. And that's going to be interesting to see Askarov versus either one of those guys. I've started to, real news. Kai's got value. Man, dude, Askarov is so good, man. One of my favorite fighters, bro. He's so solid. Like Petr Yan. The dude does everything just technically so well, right? Just so well-rounded and doesn't make mistakes. Uses his head, even though, well, can I say that about Petr Yan? After the knee. I think one of his coaches was calling the knee. Like, he almost listens to his coaches to a fault, which I love. I love it. When I see a fighter that, like, their coach is giving a command or in the corner gave a command and they come out and execute what the corner's saying, oh man, that's what I consider real, in-fight fight adjustments, fight IQs is listening to your coaches and making adjustments on the fly like that. And, that's why I think Tom Aspinall, even though he mentioned it himself, Tom Aspinall comes from a strong base, right? A strong combat educated base, right? That allows him to make those in-fight adjustments, and he'll listen to his coaches. Whereas like Paddy Pimblett, fucking, our meatball, Molly, those guys are meatheads. I don't know if they're going to listen to anybody, to anything they say, right? So I don't consider them having a good high fight IQ. Gunnar Nelson has a high fight IQ. Maybe I never knew, but dude, the guy, even though he's deaf, I don't know how he communicates with his coaches, but talk about how intelligent you have to be to fight in UFC, and be deaf, right? And, just like, Mark Hamill was the guy who beat John Jones lost to via, disqualifications. And yeah, he beat, the Brit. He beat this dude to win the Ultimate Fighter Championship. Mark Hamill, he was also deaf, right? And I think was he a USA national champion in deaf? Regardless of what it is, to have that kind of, just like Bisping, to have one eye and compete in the UFC, fucking come on, man. You know how good you have to be to fight with a handicap like that? Unheard of. Here, let me go get another beer. All right, now we're on back to the Goose, because this is like my everyday drinking, because we can't get the Spotted Cow all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, so back to this card. The good fights to watch and possible parlays, and I know a lot of people are putting out those parlays if you want to hear about that shit. I think if you're on the English side, right now a good parlay, if you're on the English side, it is Jack Shore, Arnold Allen, right? At plus 248. I like doing my parlays in two pieces. Or if you're on the other side, like Valiev and Hooker, or mix and match, whatever, like either one, is also in plus 276. And see, I like those parlays as opposed to trying to stack Muhammad with friggin' Pavlovich. You're at minus 175 just for a 2-pick so far. Then you're going to throw in Ilya Topuria. As a 3, you're still at chalk at minus 118. Then you're going to throw in Paddy Pimblett, right? And you're at a 4-pick at plus 115. That's absurd. That's not anybody that's out there, and a lot of guys do tell you that, oh, that's a good safer parlay if you look at that's not a good parlay. We're here to make money. We're not looking, to really get value out of that. You're going to have to bet, not 100, or you're going to have to bet at least 200, me at least, or people that I know would have to bet like 200 to maybe even $1,000 on that to really get value. And then what's your point? Like, yeah, you'd have to bet like $200, but really to try to get some value. Whereas I could bet, clear that one, right? I don't need that 4-pick of all that chalk. I could just take, just for example, I'm not doing it, just saying example, Jack Shore and Arnold Allen is at plus 248. I could just bet $40 and have basically the same kind of return as I bet 200, right? Yeah, you know what? I don't think that they're, real news, I bet totals against what Vegas thinks, right? Like, I think, like, for example, there isn't good value on it. There isn't good money on the over, and I'll mention it. Yeah, over 1.5 for Paddy Pimblett and Rodrigo Vargas is minus 105. So there is good value there. There's good value there. And I even like the possible yes to go the distance possibly there. Maybe I'm on Patty. The Aspinall line that I think is not necessarily easy money, but good money that is again, if you're playing that total, the best totals line I saw here, Real News, in my opinion, is the under 3.5 in the bout between Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov at -120. I'm not going to play it. Because I don't think there's even that number. I could find better. I don't need to prop bet and I could find a better number on a fighter even. I'd rather throw more money on Molly McCann at the money line than bet that prop. Right? Why would I bet that fight at an outcome, right? A time outcome at -120 when I could bet Arnold Allen at -124. I could bet, Timur Valiev at -114 or Jack Shore at -109. There's more money in this set of 4 than a lot of those time props, right? In my opinion, right? I think that people that give advice or that say, hey, you want to make this cool parlay, that's all bullshit, man. That's all smoke and mirrors. Don't listen to those people, right? Or do, watch them, but they ain't got money on the line. And they're not using it to make money, right? They're just trying to give you a safe bet to look good, to add to or bolster their credibility, when in reality they're giving you bad betting advice, right? They're giving you the better bets are, oh, look at Molly McCann is now -148. I got her at like even money at Monday, right? I think you're better off betting Molly McCann at -148 than that time prop. That's just me. Why bet a prop when there's targets on the money line already that you can bet that will give you better value? And you don't have to worry about the time prop. And people say, well, I wouldn't have to worry about the outcome. And it's like, no. Like, if you could get something on the money line or a 2-pick parlay as opposed to a 4-pick parlay and get the, as I mentioned, let's just say I went with Valiev and Hooker. It's at +276, a 2-pick right there, right? That's a 2-pick +276. If you went with Topuria to get to 276, you'd have to have Topuria, Pavlovich, Grundy, Muhammad. Wait, we're at 4 so far. Let's throw in McKenna in there just for example. Okay, so you'd have to get five plays to get the plus about the same. Corey McKenna, 5 parlay, a 5-pick parlay to get the same value as you would a 2-pick. What are you going to do? You're going to play the 5 chalk numbers, or are you going to play the 2 numbers that are closer to even money for the same value? I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. And I can't stand when guys are out there, and mainly guys, giving you this betting advice and saying, oh, it's a bit more confident, it's more of a sure bet, and you want to spice it up, add this or that, You want to really spice up that line, I might get a 6-bet. Throw in Patty Pimblett in there to get to +342. What are you betting? $2 here? You're not betting money that's going to affect your life, and you sure shouldn't. You shouldn't throw $100 at a 6-pick parlay. And I know guys do, and there were certain cards that you could do that and should do that, like the Russian card quite some time ago. But no way, man. I'm not doing that. I could get almost the same value out of two player parlays, 2 picks. Why would I bet 5 or 6? Makes no sense. What's up, Gio? Gio made some good parlays last week. Gio's been doing very, very good on his parlays. And did you play some good parlays this week too, Gio? Oh, man, dude. Gio, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, you know how I bet, bro. I have a lot of tickets with Aspinall, man. And I did a max bet on him on the money line for me. I only put $150 on the money line, but he's tied in to another, basically almost my whole bankroll. Aspinall is my night. If Aspinall doesn't win, I'm losing money for sure at the end of the night, no matter what happens. All the other parlays won't pay enough as much as I have in Aspinall. So Aspinall is my main play. And I got him at even money at the beginning of the week. And then I dumped even more money on Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather lose money on a better profiting or better value bet than make a little money uh, on big chalk, right? Like, I mean, on because I'm around like some big quantity gamblers at the casino, and for what they wager, their risk to reward is nothing like mine. They're risking 1,000 to make $200. I make $200 off one bet. I could make $200 off a $10 bet. You know, and I made $200 off the Pieta bet, the over 1.5 on a $40 bet, right? I placed a $40 bet and won. It was a plus 160, so whatever that is. I'm like, come on. These guys are, I don't care if the amount of money you make, the size of the wager, it doesn't always, it's great if but it doesn't justify, at the end of the night, it's the profit that we're looking at. It's not whether you win or lost, it's how much money you're walking away with. And unfortunately, I do walk away with even money a lot, but I'd rather wager or have a bankroll of $500 and either break even, maybe lose 100, or double or triple up, maybe make $1,000, than bet $1,000 or $2,000 to make, maybe at the end of the night, maybe you come out with 500 yourself or 1,000. You're doing basically the same. You're getting the same return I am for a much higher risk, right? I mean, it's all relative to what you're wagering and how much you're gambling with, but at the same time, it's also what you're betting on. So, again, everybody has their not a methodology, but we have the expendable amount of what bankroll we have and what we're willing to do with it, right? So I'm cautious on, not necessarily because I bet a lot of small bets, but when I'm betting the larger quantities, I'm very, very I'm not speculative. I am, but at the same time, I'm looking at value. I'm looking at what's going to be, and I don't want to. I keep mentioning that shit, and people are like, value, just bet the fight, and I do bet the fight, right? But if we're doing some of these bets, as I mentioned before, that set of those two fights between Dan Hooker and Arnold Allen, and I would add in the bout between Molly McCann as well as Alexander Volkov and Tom Aspinall. If you're going to make a parlay at this point, in my opinion, those are the fights the bouts to focus in. To add some of these other bouts and fighters, like to utilize Topuria as a leg and Paddy Pimblett now, all the value has been sucked out. There's no point of it. You get nothing for your money unless you're betting big money, right? In which case, then you just should have gotten in on Topuria when he was minus 360 and bet $1,000 then or $2,000 then. That's what you should have done. Or say same with Paddy Pimblett. You could have taken those two when they were at that number and bet your house, bet the house on it and just went there. Because doing that now and doing it on a 5-pick parlay is just absurd. We've mentioned some good spots, and you could go back in the chat. Like, I like that Takashi Sato by finish. We've discussed the Paul Craig by submission's a good number. I mentioned in passing that Mike Grundy finishing is a good number, right, in terms of the prop bets. And I think that's it. I don't think that there are some round props, but I think those are the best. If you're going to be making some stretch, I think that Paul Craig by submission is a pretty damn good number right there. That's a good bet. Plus 420, that's not bad for what they have there. Gio, what's your other parlay? And remember, folks, tomorrow's an early day. The gambling starts early. Gio, share your parlay with us, bro. You made a good one last week. What's your parlay play this week? If you're still there. Hey, thanks for all you guys coming in, man. I really appreciate it. I know there are a lot of other channels, a lot of other people talking shit out there and doing their thing, and I'm happy that I've had 5-6 people to shoot the shit with. Really, really appreciate it. Makes it more fun. And then you get an idea of what it is I'm doing, and I showed the tickets earlier, all the bets I make. It's a lot of stuff. The Geo just come in and he just popped out. Yeah, Manpreet's out there with Clint right now. The oh, did I lose Geo? Did I lose everybody? Any other thing that we want to discuss? Anybody still out there? Is it just me at this point? Yeah, there's always a lot of good content out there. We almost can get overkill on it, you know. I admit, like one, I like Johnny K picks. I tailed one of his bets earlier, but this dude Wood dropped off, man. I was gonna do a piece on all my parlays, and then Nathaniel Wood fell off, and then my computer was giving me problems, which it always has. And I've tailed people, other people. I've been like, hey, I'll come Thursday or Friday is when I look at other people's content, and I caught Johnny K's content on Wednesday, and I drove to the casino. I was at work and I saw it. I'm like, man, I like that parlay. Like, I didn't want to look at. That's why I hate looking at other people's content, is that it does influence sometimes my opinions, and then it sometimes affects my actions. Like, I actually went and placed a bet on it, and I thought it was a good parlay. Now it's going to be a 2-pick parlay with Ilya Tapuria and Muhammad Mokaev, as opposed to a 3-pick. And when it was a 3-pick, it had value. It was actually a very good bet with Ilya Tapuria, Muhammad Mokaev, along with Nathaniel Wood. That was a nice 3-play. And I did my max bet for a 3-pick, and I don't like doing those 3-picks as often. You know, even the Yankee, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't do these Yankees that often as much, because I've won a few of them, yes, but they don't always hit. You know, like, you're still doing 11 parlays when you're playing a Yankee, right? When you're doing a Trixie, right? How many parlays we're doing in a Trixie? The Trixie is only 4 picks. That's why I like the Trixie. I prefer Trixies, and I think there's still some Trixies out there. I wish I had more confidence in, these other bets, but I think I already made enough bets for today. Well, Gio isn't going to give us his play there. I'm going to stick around for another 5 or 10 minutes or so here, if that. I think we've covered most everything, other than possibly this Corey McKenna and LZ Reed. Man, I'm sort of feeling LZ Reed, even though the more, as time goes on, it's tough to bet against the English, though, in this particular event. And I think that's the only area. I've mentioned that I'm on Takashi Sato for lunch money, him by finish, and possibly round 1 for lunch money. And then I was swayed into Paul Craig after a prayer for Ukraine. Paul Craig by submission. And I'm thinking this Mike Grundy by finish as well. Grundy by finish is plus 320. So I'm looking at those in terms of my props, because Pavlovich is going to be a parlay piece if you still want to put him in a parlay piece. And if you want to use chalk as a parlay piece. I think Pavlovich is still there. Um, right now, man, Filthy, I think it's just how I already have my parlay established, and even not even a filthy parlay, bro. I've mentioned just talking about what you should do, a parlay piece. If I did it right now, I put Sergey Pavlovich in there, and Mike Grundy, and then either this is a tough one. You know, I have more money on Arnold Allen invested, and and he was at even money. Craig, that's not a bad one. I think throwing in Craig in there is not a bad idea, man. I don't mind throwing in a dog in there. And when I do that dog play, Real News and Filthy Sticks, like let's do his play. When I do those 3-pick parlays, like we'll do Makaev, because even though I don't think there's a lot of value there at minus 434, but we'll do him. I think Sergey Pavlovich has a better parlay value. But let's just, for example, we throw in Craig in there and Pavlovich. Yeah, that's not a bad 3. It's plus 305. You play that in a round robins because you have a dog in there, right? So that it's a little more dangerous. You throw 100 on the Trixie, right? Not 225. You throw 100 on the Trixie, right? Which gives you great payout. You win $200 on a $100 bet. That's a good 3-pick right there. Real News, I like that 3-pick play right now for what's on the board right now. Mixing in that dog play right there, bro, which I always encourage people to do. But if you do that, I play the round robins, right? Because basically you're going to have for 2 and 3 for Paul Craig and not Paul, like 1 and 3. No, I like Real News is there, but I don't know if, I think Craig at that line isn't bad. If you want to get crazy, but I don't want to do that stuff, man. I want to put Craig by submission. I think you could attack Craig on the money line. I think Sergey, yes, and Grundy and Muhammad is, I try not to bet 4-picks, Filthy Sticks. I don't really do it, man. And I wouldn't throw Craig in a 4-pick parlay, right? If you're not doing a Yankee play, I wouldn't do it. As I mentioned earlier, Filthy Sticks, what I think a safer play to be, depending on where you're at, is to bet these fighters, these sets, like either Jack Shore or Timur Valiev, depending on what side you're on, Dan Hooker or Alan Arnold, and then Tom Aspinall or Molly McCann. So just Aspinall, Molly McCann. Let's see the 4, Muhammad Makaev and Sergey Pavlovich. That's not a bad 4. That's the 4 I'd give you, Filthy Sticks. Tom Aspinall, Molly McCann, Muhammad Makaev, and Sergey Pavlovich at plus 367. I mean, I'm not going to play that one. To be quite honest, I like Real News's his 3-leg there. I like his 3-pick because you got one dog at good money right there, and then you got Pavlovich is definitely got, he's a master of sport. He's got a huge advantage against his opponent, and then we got Makaev. He's a lot of chalk right there, but that 3-pick at 305, that's not a bad play right there. But I would round robin it. That is not a Real News got a really good 3-pick there. And for the 4-pick, at this point, what I would do, is Tom Aspinall, if you want something like that, Molly McCann, Muhammad, and Pavlovich. But rather than Muhammad and Pavlovich, if you feel one way or the other about like the bout between Jack Shore or Timur Valiev or Arnold Allen or Dan Hooker, say if you took, Tom Aspinall, Molly McCann, Dan Hooker, and Jack Shore, right? Just say you wanted to go that way. That's nice, man. You're at plus 1,029. That's what you should be looking at. Those particular bouts, not the big chalk. You You know, sure, it's nice to add Muhammad Makaev and the other dude in there, but I don't know what your betting amount is. But I would look at the 4 being in those sets. And if you don't like Hooker, you could replace Hooker with Arnold. And if you don't like Shore, replace him with Valiev, and you're still at plus 900. You know, that's where you should be at, rather than the 4 that I mentioned, because the 4 that I mentioned, you're you know, what are we getting at that? You know, plus 900 as opposed to plus 367 for a 4 pick. Pretty simple math, Filthy Sticks. You know, look at those bouts, as I mentioned, that have the lower line, that you're not playing that much chalk into your parlays. Sure, it's more risk, but I think that's a smarter play, and keeping it to 3. Aspinall and McCann still are risky. You know, there's a little risk there. Throw them in with Paul Craig. Throw them in maybe with how you feel about Jack Shore or Timur Valiev or Arnold Allen or Dan Hooker. You know, I think Jack Shore might have a better chance than Arnold Allen. I think he's in a harder fight. You're at plus 465 for a 3 pick, and you're getting a better number there than a 4 pick. Avoid the 4 pick, stick to the 3, and do a round robins with it. You know, you could even do a round robins with Aspinall, McCann, and Jack Shore. You know, you do a Trixie there for your $100 Trixie. Very nice. You'll profit $279, which is not bad. You're getting 3-to-1 money on a Trixie, on a round robins. $100 round robins is what I'd recommend. It is a 3 pick, $100 round robin is, if you're going to parlay anything at this point, put in a round robins and stick to that sort of like $100 range that won't kill you. Because if you're going to put $100 on just a 4 pick, you know, it's risky and it's not worth it. And Paul Craig, you could attack on the money line, and he's offering also plus 420. So why parlay him? Why parlay Craig, really? It gives you that nice value add, that big giant number, but he already pays 420 for his win condition, which is submission, and you could bet him on the money line. You could split some money there, but yeah. Or you could, you know, do Sergey if you want that more sure pick. You know, do Sergey Pavlovich, Muhammad Malikov, and like Tom Aspinall at plus 176. I don't like that either. I don't like that. The other set I like better. Tom Aspinall, Molly McCann, and either of the fighters in the bouts between Jack Shore, Timur Valiev, and Dan Hooker, and that's where your best bet for your money is going to be in a 4 pick and or a 3 pick, in my opinion. And I might follow my own advice, even, and I sort of already have that almost in my Trixie. Like, it would just be basically adding another Trixie, because I already have my Aspinall and McCann and a lot of bets. It would just be either deciding if I'm on Arnold or adding value. That's a tough one. But yeah, that's where I would go. But good luck, guys. All right, 5 more minutes here, guys. Then I'm going to bust out and chat in other people's channels. I'll be in Capper Comparisons, Ranj and BC Dave's chat later on. We'll see if I'm going to be on what other channels chats I'll be in. But I appreciate everybody that came in. We'll see if people watch the video. I'm rambling a little bit, but that's all right. It's pretty cool. Any other thing that we want to discuss here? I think I've covered it all. There's no, like as I mentioned earlier, there's no value. There's nothing to bet in that bout between Ilia Topuria. There's nothing there of value to bet. You don't need to bet that fight. If you didn't make a parlay already, maybe the Ilia Topuria by submission at plus 110. I still think there's a better odds somewhere else. Bet the Paul Craig by submission at plus 420. Better bet. Arnold Allen, Dan Hooker. Hey man, if you're on Volkov, there's money to be. Volkov's a good dog, and Volkov by finish pays really nice, man. Yeah, Volkov by finish is plus 260, or or TKO plus 275. Again, I think they're better spots to be had elsewhere. And good luck. I hope that Volkov doesn't win because I need some money. If Volkov wins, I am screwed. I'm back to being negative money again for the year. Like, I bet all my bank on Tom Aspinall. I'm all in on Tom Aspinall. Full disclosure, I'm all in. It may have been impulse. It's the speed, the fight IQ. Volkov, he's got power, but he doesn't like the. Yeah, thanks, man. I hope everybody does okay, but I don't think Volkov likes the pressure, and Aspinall is going to bring it to him that first round, and then hopefully Aspinall mixes in a takedown, which is hard to do against Volkov. Volkov is hard to take down, but I think he can do it, and then we'll go there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about it. I'm sweating. I hate having all my eggs in one basket. Yeah, you think that, but it could be disappointing. I could see it now. He's apologizing to the fans, crying, but I could see the other way, lavishing in the glory of being victorious in front of your hometown. That's something that you really want, right? There's a lot of pressure on you, especially there's a lot of pressure on these English fighters, and I'd agree with you. I mean, but so going back, Filthy Sticks, I still think Tom Aspinall is still a good parlayable piece, right? You don't need to add Paddy Pimblett, Ilia Topuria, some of these other big. I already have them in parlays. I bet them at Big Chalk already. That was at the beginning of the week. At this time of the week, we want to look at some of the other numbers that are a little bit closer and tighter to even money, or just not huge favorites. But yeah, Aspinall is my biggest. Yeah, no, real news. You're absolutely correct. And now there's value on Volkov because Volkov opened up as the favorite. He was once the same where Tom Aspinall is now, or a bigger favorite, in fact. Aspinall opened up at plus 160, like a huge underdog. Not huge, but a big underdog. And so that's what Vegas set the line at. And then we, as gamblers, changed it, right? That's the other thing that people have to realize when Vegas, people are like, oh, Vegas, did this. Why they put Aspinall as a favorite? No, they didn't. Vegas opened up with Aspinall as a big underdog at plus 160. And then it flipped very quickly because even we saw it. We should have jumped on Aspinall last Saturday and when he was at that plus 160. And I didn't go place my bets on him till Monday and got him at even money. So we saw like 60 points lost right away. And now he's gone back up. He's up to a minus 136 favorite. And I think by this weekend, you're going to see people parlaying him. You're going to see his number jump up to the minus 150 or higher, minus 155 fight by tomorrow fight time. You're going to see money. Same with Molly McCann. Her number's going to go up. Yeah, that's the big X factor. I think his cardio is going to be okay, even though what people say, oh, he tired with uh, the pit bull, Orlovsky. Sure, he was winded, but Aspinall, when you're a grappler, even in England, when you practice jujitsu, wrestlers and they tend to have a little better cardio than a lot of fighters. And he's a kickboxer. I mean, we know how good Volkov's cardio is. He's got good cardio, bro. He's very consistent. He's used to fighting grinders. He's got great takedown defense despite having those long legs. But Aspinall hopefully has been working on some other takedown techniques. Again, he's quick. His size is going to help him a little bit in his ability to rush. Hopefully, he doesn't fucking time his or get timed by Volkov. Volkov is extremely dangerous. But Aspinall had skills to money was my best bet. That's why I'm all in on him. I'm all in there. I had him at even money. I placed him in parlays because it started to add value there. Right away I put him with Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. So I was like, who's the fourth? And then Molly McCann was even money. You know, I was like, well, she's in the shittiest bout. You know, Arnold Allen or um, Jack Shore are in tough matches, right? They are in tough, tough bouts. And I'm like, well, you know, Carolina Luna is not fantastic. So I put Molly McCann in there. I didn't want to. Believe me, I didn't want to put Molly McCann in my Yankee parlay. I think if anyone loses, it's Molly McCann that could falter, believe it or not. Out of the English. Everybody likes these over-under parlays. Hey, Sergio, that's not necessarily my game, bro. I don't play the over-under parlays anymore. You know, there's no need to. You know, if again, okay, but here, Sergio, I'm going to give you one. Just a 2-pick. I like you don't even have to parlay it. The under 3.5 in the bout between Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov at -120, right? And maybe you're a micro better. And I think a lot of micro bettors, with guys that do the $2, $3 bets, which I would love to do. I can't. My minimum bet at the casino is $10. But I do put I do a $10 Hail Mary parlay occasionally. So I think that like that line right there, the under 3.5 at -120 in the bout between Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov is pretty good. And then, ooh, man, this is a tough one. I probably would put that. Man, you don't even have to bet. You don't have to bet that one either. I like, you know, Sergio, I like the under 1.5 in the bout between Takashi Sato and Gunnar Nelson. And that's at plus money. So you don't have to parlay that. Right? You don't have to parlay that. So you don't have to parlay that line. But if you're interested in an underline, that's a nice underline. Right? Ilya Taporia, that's -150, -455 not to go the distance. See, I'm not throwing that shit in there. Wait. I sound like Lock of the Night with the... Let's see what that not to go. Oh, that's a good one. All right. There, let's see here. What's not to go the distance there? Ooh, no, we can't do that. All right. So my 2-pick for this, if you want like if you wanted just a under parlay or a distance prop, I would do the under 3.5 in Volkov Alexander Aspinall and the not to go the distance between Muhammad Mokaev and Cody Durden, and that 2-pick would put you at plus 194. Right? So if you consider that over-under play, I consider that, you know, I think over-under props, with that, like last week, you want to just choose one. And the one to choose, in my opinion, is actually this one. If you're going to play one prop bet, I like the under one. Oh, no, not that one. In this bout, it's plus money. The under 1.5 at plus 115 in the bout between Takashi Sato and Gunnar Nelson. And that's because Gunnar just needs one takedown and he'll submit the guy. Or Takashi Sato is a round 1 or 1-2 guy to knock him out. Right? So you don't even need to parlay it. You just bet that one bout. The Pavlovich, that under 1.5 there, that's not horrible. That's parlayable, or if you could cover that bet. I wouldn't. I don't think there's a, you know, I would parlay that. You could parlay that with the under 3.5 with Aspinall and Alexander Volkov. That's a good 2 play at 209. If you want a genuine just underplay, if you want a totals round bet, that at plus 209 isn't bad at all. Right? Just avoid those big numbers. Even if you're micro betting, there's no point of adding all that chalk to get to plus 209 with these, because you could do that with all this. Let's look at this here. You don't want to do that stuff. Let me clear the bet slip here. Let's look at all the big chalk numbers and the not to go the distance. Not to go the distance, Sergey Pavlovich and Shamil, -445. Yeah. Go ahead, put that in there. I'm just saying, we're just doing this for shits and giggles here. Not to go the distance, Cody Dirt and Muckhead Mahadran, that's parlayable, minus 167. We'll throw that one in, right? Yeah. Under 1.5 in Ilya Tabora, Herbert Jai. I think that's going to be an under. I think either Topuria is going to submit him quick, or Herbert Jai is going to knock Topuria out for being an idiot. So that under 1.5 you could do. Molly McCann, Carolina. The over 2.5 is minus 400. Put that in there, just for shit and giggles. Oh my God, horrible. Gunnar Nelson, not to go the distance. Or I like the under 1.5 already at plus money. That's what gives you some value if you want to make that parlay. That's where you get it. And then I mean, like the over 1.5 in Patty and Vargas. That's risky, but just throw the not to go the distance in that parlay of 6 picks. We're at a plus 1,000. So if you're in, and then my play, the under 3.5. So a 7 pick at, if you're in that $10 range, that making those lottery ticket plays, Lambo bets, Hail Mary parlays of over-unders, 7 picks at plus 2,044. You throw $10 at it, you win $214 or $204. Not to go the distance in Shamil Abdulmakirov versus Sergey Pavlovich at minus 455. Not to go the distance in the bout between Cody Durden and Muhammad Mokaev at minus 167. Under 1.5 in the bout between Herbert Jai and Ilya Taburia at minus 150. Over 2.5 rounds at minus 400 in Molly McCann and Carolina Luna. I don't really like that position at all. And you throw the under 1.5, Gunnar Nelson and Takashi Sato at plus 115, which you don't have to do because you could just attack that line at plus money. It isn't so bad. Not to go the distance, Paddy Pimblett versus Rodrigo Vargas at minus 305. And then the under 3.5 between Volkov and Aspinall. Again, you don't have to play that in a parlay. You could just attack that on the straight money line, but that comes to plus 2,044. You eliminate the 2 that you could attack just on the regular line, and you're at just only plus 442, and you win for a 5-pick over-under totals play, you win $44. I don't like that play at all at plus 442 for a $10 play, 4-pick, which is what I would do because I'm not going to bet anything more than that. Maybe I'll bet $20 on it, and it's still not worth it to me. I'd rather put my $20 elsewhere. But bet $20 and you'll make $88. That's not bad. If you're in a micro better, like Filthy News mentioned that he just does $5-10 bets, 50 at the most, which is fine, dude. Don't feel embarrassed about that. I bet low wages too sometimes. 10, 20, 15, 50 at most, not a problem, man. It's just still being smart about your bets, managing your money well, and not doing these kinds of bets. Not doing the 5 picks totals parlays, right? Take your $50 or your $20. If that's your level, put all your $20. Put $20 or $25 on the under 3.5 between Aspinall and Alexander Volkov, and you will basically profit $25, right? And then put $25, just one bet on the total in the bout between Gunnar Nelson and Sato Takashi at plus 115. $25 will net you another $28, $29. Or, if you're really feeling like something, you throw all that whole 50 on that plus 115, right? And you'll win another 50. You're at even money. So I think that's a better way to go than building these parlays where there's nothing there, man. You just make one prop bet. I already don't like doing long parlays, and then you're parlaying totals prop bets. And sure, you're better off if you're going to do that. Just don't do totals. Mix it up. Mix up totals that you're confident in right? And then outcomes. That's where you parlay Sergey Pavlovich by finish, minus 250. Sucks, but that's what you do there. Like you add him to, you bet him by the finish, or just add other people on the money line then. You know, you put Grundy in there. You're already at plus 113 in a 2-pick. So you got one prop and one money line player, and you're already at the same value as you would the time props, right? There's no sense of building these parlays with these over-unders, and I don't want to get into that. I know guys do that shit, but that's not a good habit and a good thing to tell people to be doing, or even to explicate or discuss, because I don't bet it. I don't like discussing things I don't do anymore. And I have a stack of parlays that I used to bet shit like that. I used to bet over-unders, mixing it up, and I used to do that, and I'm like, no way. Pick your spot, aim at your spot, and hit that spot rather than the parlays and rather than the crazy exotic prop parlays or time props. Hit your spot. There's plenty of spots here where you could bet on the money line, bet on Timur Valiev or Jack Shore, bet on Arnold Allen or Dan Hooker. You're already better than any. You already get in a better spot. If all you have is $100, choose those two bouts and the people you want to bet, and throw in $50 on either person on the money line, and you'll be better off in making a wiser investment and wiser decision than trying to put $25 or even $30 into some crazy parlay. Right? Just do that. You know, there's no need to add risk to what you're doing, because long term you're not going to make any money. You know, and you're gonna lose that little $10. You're gonna bleed yourself, right? Even though it's just $10, it's $10, it's $10. That shit adds up. Filthy sticks. Even $5-10 a minimum. You bet all these bouts, which I do, even at $5 or $10 at the end of the night, or all these outcomes and these parlays, you still might be losing $500 at the end of the night. That's why every caliber of better at $5-10, you're not a small gambler. You know, if you bet a lot, you're betting a few $100 a bout, right? You're not a small fish. Yes, compared to some people, yes, you're a small fish, but you're betting a lot on a lot of things where you should actually be consolidating your efforts into a better bet, right? Use your bankroll in a more telegraph or a more precise way. Use your bankroll wisely and just in a more precise way, because unlike me, do as I say, not as I do. You don't want your ass exposed all the way around, man. You don't want to have, I have a lot of exposure right now, right? I need primarily Tom Aspinall and Molly McCann to win, right? But if I would bet anything right now, it'd all be in that bout between Jack Shore, Timur Valiev, Arnold Allen, and Dan Hooker. If you haven't made any bets yet, as far as best prop bets, Paul Craig by submission, definitely the best paying prop bet out there. I like the Mike Grundy by finish. That's a good prop bet out there. And I'm on Takashi Sato by finish at plus 700, and possibly him at round one at plus 1300. But again, with Sato, I'm just betting lunch money. That's where I'm betting the $20 by finish and $10 on round one. And I'm almost basically saying I'm throwing that money away, right? I know the Gunner is more likely going to do it, but I want to punish Vegas for putting a line out like that. And then when I win that, feel good, and then it pays for all these other little bets. Then I could do some of these other exotic parlays, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep that profit. I want to keep that extra $60, $70 in my pocket so I could bet next time, right? And I could throw that $70 on Tom Aspinall at even money, you know, or Patty or Ilya Topuria when he beats the shit out of Paddy Pimblett, right? Like I could put the money towards that. So it's up to you guys. That's why I don't mind mentioning those things, but those I don't make those plays anymore, and I don't advise you to do them. Pick a good spot, pick a good line, and invest in it. All right, guys. That being said, I think I've talked enough. I do enjoy chatting the shit out of everybody and talking shit, but if you've made it this far, you are a bout better. Thank you. Have a good luck. Good luck, guys. Oh,